Welcome in. It's ATB, Adam, no Timmy, Billy, Rubber Shoes, Corey. Also, Scotty Dukes is here, and Little Shoes is in the building as well. We need to start with an explanation. We're going to get to all of the housekeeping stuff, but we need an explanation on the Cincinnati Reds gear that you have. Like the most random shit that you have.
I had to buy the matching hat.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so
of
course he did.
I have a bunch of different jerseys. I know on one of my wrap-ups, I had my Bo Jackson. So these are the batting cage jerseys.
Yeah,
and this is Pete Rose.
Okay,
because I'm wearing this for the All-Star game tonight. He's one of my favorite players of all time. So
is this a fresh jersey or is this something you've had for a while?
Like 2 months ago. Months ago. Yeah.
I was in the store with him while he showed me 8 hats they wanted to match with it.
Yeah,
we had to compare color shades.
Yeah. All right. Well,
why is it I hear you say that, Little Shoes, and all I can think of is the late 80s, early 90s, like those montages of people like trying on different stuff, some really crappy music, and then just Rubber Shoes coming out with like, how about this one? How about this one? And every single time, like that's all I can think of.
Pretty much.
It's like some Pretty Woman shit.
Yeah.
He was like,
Pretty Woman. Yeah. That's it.
It was like if we go down to lids, they might have different hats. So I don't know if I want this
God.
one.
You guys need a hobby. Holy shit. All right.
This is my hobby.
This is
I was gonna say,
buying stuff.
Okay. All right. Hey, don't forget to check us out, atbshow.com. Also, every day, Rubber Shoes rocks a new shirt and a new hat to do his wrap up and rant on Instagram. So make sure to get us at ATB Show. And you can follow us on all our socials there using our link tree. All right, let's get right into it. We've got lots to talk about today, and we're going to start because we are getting our balls seriously busted on YouTube by one gentleman or woman in particular. I don't know who it is. Does anybody know who the person is?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's a rando, and they're threatening to only listen to Rubber Shoes show and not the entire show. And they're angling for a spinoff for Rubber Shoes for his own Red Sox show.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's pretty good.
I'm a little worried that Rubber Shoes is going to defect from the show and have his own empire to afford all of your shirts and your hats.
Right.
So, all right. So let's start with the home run derby because that's the most recent thing. And then we'll get into the All-Star game tonight. So thoughts, comments on the home run derby. Ohtani didn't win.
Tyler said he has a little rant to go on about this.
I get, yeah. I just thought that the overall production of the thing was quite rough.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had a problem with ESPN's because even back to the hot dogging thing, they were having issues with that production too. And it was like, they'd have the ball get hit, and by the time they cut to see if it was a home run, it cut back to them, and it was like a total mess. I don't like the setup of it in general.
I don't like the timed because that's where they're timing how long you have to hit them
with the bonus,
and they're rushing. So when they used to have 10 outs, you could see the hit, watch it, the whole flight of the ball, see where it landed. On this one, it's like before the ball lands, they're throwing the next pitch. It's rushed. The guys are getting spent. They're very tired after that.
A minute in.
I do like the old format a lot better.
Rubber Shoes, you're more of a purist though, right? You're a baseball purist. You don't want to see like a pitch clock or anything that, right?
No, I want them to fix the game and make it better because I think when I was younger, I think the game had a better pace to it.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the the sign stealing and everyone's it's almost like every pitch is game 7 of the World Series nowadays because the pitches are taking so long, they're over analyzing. It's like I love watching Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta gets the ball and throws it.
Yeah,
he stays in a good rhythm. I think. I mean, I played in high school, but when I did it, I'd like to just keep going, not sit there and think about it for 10 minutes before I threw my next pitch. Is like just get the ball and throw it.
Especially with nobody on. I see that a lot too. There's nobody on base, and they're still like dicking around on the mound. I'm like, dude, just let's go. Let's go. You got to be faster. Yeah. The thing that drove me nuts too about and I agree with you, Little Shoes, around like the coverage itself was not great. I mean, I blame ESPN, but I also blame the new rules, like the timer, because it was so hard for them to go back. It was really hectic.
I feel like there's no communication on that either.
Is there any room for like adjusting some of these things for the All-Star games, like the 3-point contest for the NBA All-Star.
I was just gonna say the dunk contest has to be adjusted too.
It's just become, I don't know, stale, or maybe it's because we've watched it every year, so we're getting bored of it. I don't know, but it just seems like the same stuff over and over again. I don't know what they could do with the home run derby, but I would agree that it got really boring and difficult to follow actually while you were watching it.
And I think onto that too is a big problem with this year's. I did like enjoy part of it, but this was one of the more hyped up ones in the past few years due to, of course, Shone. And when it didn't exactly deliver, I don't think it helped either, because I was seeing videos like, oh, he's hitting 530 footers in practice. What's he going to do when it actually happens?
Right.
Well, I know.
And they didn't even show how far the balls
that's
went.
Part of the thing that he was hitting bombs. It's like, if you were able to, they had the split screen, so you had to pay attention to one or the other. So if you did pay attention a couple times to the ball flight, he was hitting bombs, but it was just, you can't even marvel at it because he's already hitting the next pitch before the first one lands.
Right.
It was totally bad production.
It was really hard to follow. Like really
hard.
It
seems like a lot of these sports, they tinker with the stuff to try to make it better, and I believe in my heart they're making them worse. Like, I think the dunk contest was great the way it was.
Yeah.
And another thing is, a lot of these all-star games, the people participating in them, they're not the best of the best.
Right.
Like Ohtani was the best, and Alonso is the defending champ, but the rest of the guys, those aren't your top home run hitters in the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that happens with the Pro Bowl too. Is a lot of times the guys won't play in the Pro Bowl, right?
Right.
And that was Guerrero like Brady started that.
There. Tatis Jr. should have been in there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the other thing too is they're trying to speed up the game, and I get that, but it's like a 9-inning game. Yes, you want to speed it up. A home run derby, that's what you're there for.
Right.
Like, what difference does it make if it goes for a while? You're there to watch them hit home runs, and if you can only focus on them swinging the bat or the ball going out of the park, those are two. You're not seeing the whole piece. So I don't know. I don't like how they sped it up.
I mean, chicks dig the long ball, but they can't really tell if it's they can't see where the ball's going to go.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing?
That's right.
Yeah, it was not great.
All right,
and I know they hyped up Ohtani, and like Tyler said, it fell on it. It wasn't as bad as, like, he didn't make it out of the first round, but he still hit 28 home runs, which was
they had a bit of a war there.
Tied for the second most
right
in the first round. So he just got up against another hot hitter.
Because I texted him before, like, he went up. I said, I hope he doesn't Michael Jordan in the 3-point contest this.
So
he didn't completely.
Let's talk about Ohtani for 1 second, and then we'll move on to the All-Star game as a whole. Okay. So the Stephen A. Smith thing, I'm sure you guys all saw what he said, his apology today. I don't know if you saw it. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but anybody have any thoughts on that and, his apology and if he's right or wrong or indifferent?
So part of it, I understand what he's saying, but baseball, I was listening to shows on my way home today and they were talking about it. Mike Trout speaks perfect English. Has he hyped up the game and made the game better and people wanting to watch because of him?
Right.
No, it's not. I don't care who you have. I think this is the most exciting buzz I've heard for baseball in a long time. Just having Ohtani there.
Right.
Yes.
100%.
And it doesn't matter if he speaks English or not, which people have said he can speak English. He just chooses not to.
But if he's
kind of like Ichiro did the same thing.
Right, exactly. He speaks Spanish as well. He speaks English, Spanish as well. But the other thing is too is he's been a part of the top 10 viewed broadcast this year. You know what I mean? Right. That's not like a coincidence. Yeah, so I don't, and the other thing is too is baseball have tried to they've talked about global inclusion, right? Bringing in the Dominican Republic, and they have a lot of folks, it would be America's pastime or whatever, but they should actually look at global inclusion because baseball is being played everywhere. There's a lot of really talented players outside of the States, if not the most talented players sometimes outside of the States that are coming in. And, it's not a bad thing to have him as the face of Major League Baseball at all. I think
that's something that the NBA worked on for a long time, being a global brand. And obviously you've got the guys like LeBron and Michael Jordan, who are the, key figures, but you also had guys like Yao Ming, right, who was a big ambassador to China. And they've done an excellent job with that, taking those guys who are really good players in the United States, but are heroes in their country and really elevating them. So there's no reason to, in my view, just because he doesn't speak English, you can watch him play baseball. He doesn't. What's he going to come out and say? Because he doesn't have a great press conference. That's going to be boring.
And that's the thing. Fans. So I was listening. They were comparing. They said Jeter was a horrible interview. He didn't come out and promote the game. He just was a great player. People love to watch him. Yeah. And they put his silhouette on cleats to get people to buy him.
How was Pete Rose as an interviewer?
Oh, horrible. I remember the '99 All-Star game when what's his name? The guy, he does boxing interviews too. He came Jim Gray, yes. It was a great day. It was the first time Pete Rose has been on a baseball field in 20 years. And the first question he asked is like, "Oh, so are you gonna admit that you gambled and stuff?" And I was like, "This isn't what this is about." It's like, it was such a low blow.
Anybody have a favorite All-Star game? I have a favorite All-Star game. I'm wondering if any of you guys have one.
99.
Oh. 99. Yeah.
99 sure. at Fenway. That
100%.
Ted Williams comes out.
I figured we'd all agree on that.
All the players come over and they want to touch and shake Ted Williams' hand. It's biased because we're Red Sox fans.
Of course.
That was also the Pedro game, wasn't it? That he struck out. Right. Was that? No, I'm thinking of '98. It was the year before that, where Pedro struck out McGuire and Sosa in the first three batters, whatever it was, because McGuire and Sosa were hitting all those home runs, right? And Pedro just mowed them down. It was that was awesome. Yeah, '98. That's what it was. And '99, without a doubt, that's
99 is to not be forgotten because Smash Mouth played All-Star during that game. So I don't know if anybody else remembers that, but Tyler probably doesn't even know who Smash Mouth is.
No, Smash Mouth are amazing.
Oh, really? You're a big Smash Mouth fan?
It's not like they're like really good, awesome. It's just like they have a weird like pop culture thing where it's like I don't know how to describe it.
You have a Funko Pop of the lead singer of Smash Mouth?
I don't think they make that, unfortunately.
No. All right.
Unfortunately or fortunately? Are we sure? Are we sure?
I'm not totally sure.
All right. So what do we got for predictions for tonight? For tonight's game, is it AL or NL going to win it? Who wants to go first? Rubber Shoes?
Well, I'll put a slight edge to the National League because their pitching staff is just a tick better than the American League, and I think they got they have some better bats in the lineup. Mm-hmm. So I'll give the nod to the National League. I'll say 6-5.
Oh, all right.
National League
6-5. Okay.
I'll take the same thing, 6-4.
Okay.
And I predict Tatis will be the MVP.
Me too.
All right. Wow. Did you guys coordinate that or?
No, he just kind of took what I was going to say.
Okay.
Scotty,
what do you think?
It's tough because I can't pick against the AL because I'm an AL guy, but so I'll stick with the AL. I think it is going to be the high scoring just because it's in Coors Field, with Colorado and all that. So I'm going to actually say 8-5 AL.
All right. I'm going to take the AL too because I'm a homer and I always take the league that our teams are in. So I'm going to pick the AL. I'll say 6-4. AL wins.
I am rooting for my boys.
Of course. Of course. Obviously.
I know Evaldi is definitely supposed to pitch and Bogarts and Devers are starting. So whether or not Matt Barnes gets in or not, I hope he does. I hope everyone gets a chance.
It's the weird thing about the All-Star game though for Major League Baseball because an All-Star game I always think of a really high scoring affair. Like you're going to put up a ton of numbers. it almost never happens, right? Sometimes it's even boring where it's like 1-0
because you got the best pitches in
right,
in
exactly,
the league all out there,
which is more exciting in some regards, but in other regards, it's like, okay, I'd love to see him, put up double digits on both sides of the ball, but that's the
thing.
Happens.
Which I'm not sure if it still means anything or not. I know they had changed at the All-Star game. The winning league gets home advantage for the World Series. I'm not sure if that's still a factor, but that's what I think kind of ruined the All-Star game a little bit. It was good because they're playing for something, but it also was bad because some players would be left out because they were worried about possibly going into extra innings and needing to have extra players for extra innings. So that's where if they're playing for something, Matt Barnes might be left out because they may be holding him out for the extra innings. So that's, that's the only problem I have with that.
I wonder if there will be any sort of pomp and circumstance, like the '99 World Series. It was like out of control, right? I mean, it was at a historic ballpark. Coors Field is just sort of blah, and nobody. I don't know.
I think it was so what they had because Rose was out there. It was something. It was like the top 50 greatest players or something in the league or something they had, because I mean, not only was Ted Williams there,
right.
Hank Aaron, Willie Mays was there. It was just awesome. If you grew up loving baseball and watching all the highlights of the guys you never got to see play, having all those people all on that field at once was just that's why that will always be my favorite.
Yeah. But I don't think they're pulling anything else out right tonight. I mean, there's nothing like that.
We'll see. They'll be, they'll have a pregame ceremony and stuff, getting everything started. So who knows that, each park does their own thing.
Yeah.
And I know Major League Baseball had that, whatever it was, the top 50 greatest players. They probably wanted to push that.
Right.
Because they probably had some other reason for it, but they push that. But who knows? Maybe they bring back, a bunch of old Colorado Rockies, Dante Bichette,
Larry Walker.
You're already putting me to sleep. You're already putting me to sleep.
Or they
I figured they had all those guys in the '99 because it was the turn of the century kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It was But
I have my stepbrothers are from the Boston area, but they moved out to Colorado, so now they're Rockies season ticket holders, and they claim that Colorado fans are as rabid baseball fans as Red Sox fans. And they grew up around here. They went to Fenway. They are diehard Red Sox fans, but they got season tickets. They claim that Colorado fans are maybe not quite as rabid, but very close to what Red Sox fans are. So I've never seen it. It's hard to see it on TV. I've never been out there to see a game.
With the World Series, even actually the playoffs when they played against the Dodgers a couple years ago, it gets pretty crazy there. I think they have a good fan base out there, with the Broncos. They know how to root for teams out there. It's not like Atlanta. Atlanta's probably going to be the worst fan base. I mean, I remember in the 90s when you had Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox pitching. They were in the World Series and they had empty seats.
I know, it was nuts. I know. Even in the World Series, they had empty seats. Did they not? As I remember, it was crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So the All-Star game is tonight. I think it's the first, if I remember correctly, it's the first All-Star game of any major sporting event that has fans. Is that right? Since COVID happened, isn't this the first one with fans?
So the NBA had fans, no?
At the All-Star game, I don't because that would have been February or March.
Yeah.
Other than like celebrities,
Coors Field was
Super Bowl didn't have everything.
Yeah, the Super Bowl had some fans, but it wasn't.
It
full.
was like
25%. Yeah, I think this is probably the first full capacity.
Yeah, so it'll be nice. That'll be just a small, nice thing to see.
Yeah,
a full stadium.
Last night it was they were loving it.
Yeah, last night was the same way.
Yeah.
And I actually have a person that I used to work with here who now lives out in Colorado, and she was at the
no kidding,
the home run derby last night. She was posting pictures on Facebook. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was there.
I'm shocked that you don't have a Rockies jersey, I have to say.
Yeah,
you should get one.
Oh, I was gonna say you're giving an excuse to buy one.
All right, so did we talk enough baseball? Do we think that that's enough baseball? Oh no, Rubber Shoes, you wanted to talk about the Red Sox and their draft picks. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Start out and talk about the Red Sox draft.
Marcelo Mayer, who on many mock drafts was the number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
And he fell to the 4th pick for the Red Sox. He's a stud. Whether or not, so you can get excited for him, but there's one problem is if they don't sign him now, he's committed to go to USC. If he makes it to his junior year at USC, he can re-enter the draft.
Oh.
So hopefully they take care of him, and it's probably why he fell to 4th, because the other people didn't want to pay the money. Although the 3 picks ahead of them, they're gonna earn their money too, because those were all studs that went.
Wait, so help me understand this a little bit. So he got drafted this year. What year in college is he currently?
He just graduated high school.
Oh, just graduated high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've basically got 3 years to sign him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which most of these guys, that if they're drafted that high, they're gonna throw enough money at him that he's gonna join the farm system this year.
Scotty.
Yeah, I know. I have a little
disco lights
little
in
person,
the back of your background.
Yeah, little person's like back here and handing me stuff, and yeah. He also came out already. He came out today. Was like, I'm dying to sign my contract. He wants to get started already. Like,
yeah,
he's ready to go.
Nice.
Like, he's chomping at the bit. And of course, he was a Yankee fan growing up. I don't know if you heard this or not. He's a big Yankee fan. And he said, he's like, I'm now the biggest Red Sox fan ever. That was like his response, And I'm like, good answer. Yeah. Good answer. Yeah.
Well, we have a history of that in Boston, right? So, Paul Pierce was a Lakers fan growing up. So, that worked out pretty well for us. So
one more thing for the Red Sox. So I know you throw it out about predicting the second half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's hear it. What do you got?
I think they're sitting pretty good. I hope they make a trade at the deadline. I don't think it's going to be a major one. I don't think they're going out and getting I know rumors already that Max Scherzer might be on the block, but I don't think they're going to go out and get a number 1 guy. We have Chris Sale that's going to be coming back.
Right.
He's down in Florida, going to start doing games down in the single A teams this week. So he pitched this weekend. He did 2 innings because they wanted him to pitch an inning, sit down, come back out for another inning, and see how he felt. Says he feels great, and he's champing at the bit to get back to play.
Nice throwback to episode 1. Nice job.
So I think they might pick up maybe a better pitcher than Garrett Richards, maybe, to throw into the mix, and then maybe another utility type player or some guy maybe to platoon at first base with Dalbach, because he's playing well, but his batting average is pretty low right now. It's floating around the 200 mark.
Do we think Sale will play throw any games for the Woo Sox?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
We should try and snag tickets and all go together for that.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of like, it's not really, I mean, for you, it's not halfway Rubber Shoes because you're pretty close, but for you guys up in New Hampshire and Maine, it'd be about halfway from me. So, hey, see if we can make it happen. Although it's tough to time that.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a tough ticket to get too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because when we had the Spinners here in Lowell, they would send players down here for assignment, and it was hard. Actually, it was hard to get tickets regularly at the Lowell Spinners, and when they had a guy
Lowell Spinners. Where did they go?
They folded.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Major League Baseball came out last year, or I think right before COVID. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but they said you have to reduce your farm system to so many teams. So they had to pick and choose which ones they kept and which one they didn't. And Lowell got the cut. Yeah.
I've been on their field as a player.
Yeah.
Oh, as a player? Really?
I think it was when Mookie was there too.
Wow.
Right out there with him.
No,
it wasn't.
Wait, what, explain this, Little Shoes. What were you?
It was when I did like little league stuff. They let us go out and
that's cool.
Before the game or like at intermittent. I don't know.
Now, did you play basketball too, Little Shoes? Not to get sidetracked.
Like when I was like very young, it went bad, and now I play basketball now like on the streets and stuff. But
on the streets.
I don't know why I said on the street, but
so he played at the,
Little Shoes is going to start throwing up gang signs pretty soon if we're not careful.
It's like joining the N1 tournament. Or
he went to I don't remember if it was the Y. Yeah, so it was the YMCA. They had a thing where they would do drills and stuff for half an hour, and then you could play a game for half an hour.
Oh, that's cool.
There was no, it was
no rules.
Pure chaos.
It was just
so he was going to get a ball.
And I want to give my retirement story.
That was out of bounds. It was like the ball was out of bounds. He was just going to get it to throw it off in bounds, and some guy checked him into the wall. Another kid ran at him,
face first,
checked him into the wall. Like, what the hell's going on here?
In a basketball game?
Yeah.
When I got up, I walked straight from the court out the door and never came back.
Yeah.
And now you play street ball. All right.
Yeah.
Where I injure the people.
In the hood. Yep.
Man.
Oh man.
That's
all right.
crazy.
So Scotty, what do we got for a prediction for the Red Sox for the rest of the season?
Well, I think it's going to be I agree with Rubber Shoes around the trade deadline. I think they're going to make a move. One name I've heard, it's very like Steve Pierce-ish type of a name, CJ Cron. He's been around a little bit. He's a first baseman because, Bobby Dahlbeck hitting like 219 isn't going to, fly. They need some help, with that bat. I don't know if the Scherzer thing, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. No. But, I don't think they're going to go get, I think you can't, I think they already, Bloom's already come out and said you can't make a trade for a guy like Chris Sale. So I don't, if the fact that he's coming out and flatly just saying that, I don't see them making any of that kind of decision. As for the second half when it kicks off, 9 out of their next 10 series are against AL East opponents.
Crazy.
So it's like, between the Yankees, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and Toronto, and with like Detroit sprinkled in between. But that's that's going to be pretty telling on, where they end up and, especially for the division. So it's going to be interesting next like 5-6 weeks or whatever it is. But
so they play right out of the All-Star break against the Yankees.
Yep.
I mean, in many respects, don't we think they can just put the Yankees away? If they
in the next 2 weeks, because they play them right outside starting Friday, I think Thursday.
Yeah.
And then they play Thursday against them with 4, and then literally the following Thursday they kick off another 4-game set. I mean, it depends on what happens in those 8 games. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, you know what I mean? But the Yankees are playing so freaking terrible right now.
I know.
I mean, they blew that game against the Astros right before the All-Star break. They gave up what was like a 7-run comeback or something like that, or 6 runs
in the 9th, right? Wasn't it in the 9th?
Yeah. Yep. And then Altuve walks off and just like rips off his shirt basically because of the whole. You saw the Aaron Judge thing where Judge ran around and closed the shirt. Yeah. So I was like, but I'm looking forward to it. I think this is, you talk about like, Nesson, like their TV ratings and stuff like that for the Red Sox this year are up. There's a lot of optimism, and there should be with this team, especially with the young kids, and with Xander meeting the number 1 pick there and telling him to hit bombs, but it was like, you're not going to see this kid probably for like 3 or 4 years, but you still have Xander, who's super young, and Devers, who's super young, and Devers has got 22 bombs already this year. So, it's going to be a fun finish of the summer.
All right, let's go around to everybody. Are the Red Sox playing in October? Yes or no? Little Shoes, let's start with you. Can't hear you, Little Shoes. Hello?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speak into the microphone.
Sorry. Oh, definitely, yes.
Yes. Okay. Rubber Shoes?
Definitely.
Scotty?
Absolutely.
All right. We're 4-0 on that. Timmy is probably somewhere saying we're probably playing our last game in September, but whatever. He's on the beach. He doesn't count in the episode. All right. Did we get Jopo? Did we get enough Red Sox in? We talked for 35 minutes about the Red Sox. Did we get enough? I hope that we did. Thank God.
Well, I could say I'm happy about it. I've been dying to talk about them for a couple weeks.
We don't have to talk about the Red Sox for another 3 weeks. Thank you. I'm just kidding. I know they're the only team that's actually playing for us right now. So I got it. All right.
And they're in first place. Yeah.
And they're in first place. Right. So it's not like they're like last place and we're bored talking about them. I got it. All right. So let's move on to a little basketball because Team USA has just stumbled out of the blocks. They lost to Nigeria. Let's say that again. They lost to Australia.
I got a question to Little Shoes because he texted me something. I couldn't find it anywhere. I want to know where he found it. He said that the 92 Dream Team started out 0-2 as well in their practice games, but I couldn't find anything about that. Where was your source on that?
It was something, whatever account, it was like, it just said USA falls again. The last time they've done this was 1992.
See, 92, okay. I just watched a documentary on the Dream Team, actually. 92, they lost their first exhibition game that was against a group of, like, they weren't college scrubs. They were, top-notch college players, and they did lose that first exhibition game. But I don't think they lost any other games to other countries.
No,
as far as I remember.
They did not. No, they lost they did actually lose 2 of those exhibitions. So on the same day. In the same day, and then they like wiped it out, at the gym or whatever. They wiped out the score because Chuck Daly didn't want
because they didn't want
to get a hold of it and be like, oh my god, you lose to a bunch of college, and then they're not scrubs. They were like legit, like Grant Hill, Chris Webber, Bobby Hurley before the car accident, like legit, real good basketball.
Which team did Leitner was on the Dream Team, right?
Leitner was on the Dream Team, yes. Okay.
Yep.
Did you guys, speaking of, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but have you guys watched the Hall of Fame induction of the Dream Team? And Leitner's standing, they're all like Magic Johnson's giving the speech, and he's going down the line like, it's so great to play with Jordan and Bird, and he's like raving, going on and on about how great all these pros are, and he's like, literally like 5 seconds before he's done, he's like, oh, I don't want to forget Christian Leitner was amazing. I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was friggin' terrible.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. So the Team USA has dropped their first 2 games on the world stage. So let's just set that as the floor of this team, and hopefully they go from here. What's the biggest problem so far, Scotty? Have you watched some of these games or at least seen highlights? Yeah.
And there's actually their next one against Argentina is about to start in like 20 minutes or something like that too.
Yeah.
No, I have. Honestly, they don't know how to close. I think they're also. There's 2 ways to look at it. One, you can look at it as Pop is still tinkering. Popovich is still messing around with the lineups. They are missing a few players. That are still playing in the NBA Finals, like Booker and Middleton. But they haven't shot the ball particularly well. They've had good looks. They just haven't made them. I mean, Tatum has been awful in these first 2 games. He has not played well at all. But I think he's still messing around with stuff. Like Pop doesn't seem overly concerned with it, but they're not closing games. They were up at one point like 21-6 against Australia, and then they ended up losing that game by 8.
Well, it's Australia, I saw that Australia went on an 11-1 run to end the game, and then Team USA was 0 for 5 in the last 5 minutes of the game. 0 for 5.
They're not closing. Yeah, they're not finishing games.
Great point.
And they're struggling to make open shots, and they're struggling to hit shots. I also think that they still have a bit of an ego where it's like, hey, we're Team USA. We're going to walk in the gym and just get it done. Yeah. And it doesn't really work like that, especially now. I mean, it's not like that. The international, talent is really, really good. So there's a lot of players that you won't even hear of. And speaking to Stephen A. Smith, like we talked about it before, do you see all the blowback he got from the Nigerian team?
Oh, yeah.
Because he railed on the USA team, which is fine. You can rail on the USA team, but consider the fact you couldn't pronounce or didn't even try to pronounce the Nigerian players' like actual names. Yeah. And you just like, oh, who the hell is that guy or whatever. It was a terrible impression of Stephen A. Smith. But yeah, it was, it's like, and he should get railed on for that because that's ridiculous. Like you've got a couple of guys that play in the pros, that are on Nigerian teams. Like, it's like, I don't know, but yeah, it's been, I'm still embarrassed though, the fact that they've lost these games. It's as much as the international teams are much better than what they used to be. There's no reason you should be losing to Nigeria and Australia. You lose to like Argentina, you lose to like some of the other like legitimate contenders. Yeah. I can understand that, but they're better than Nigeria. Come on. They are. They definitely are. And they're better than Australia. Yeah. Australia's a good team. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but the USA they should be much, much better.
Right.
But
even with the debate of like, oh, it's exhibition, they weren't like trying their hardest, but like still like guys like Kevin Durant at 50% effort should still be absolutely destroying them.
You should be killing Ingles. Yeah. Like Joe Ingles. Like, really? Joe Ingles going Ingles, dropping 23 on your head? Like, what? Right. Come on, man. I like Joe Ingles. Don't get me wrong. He can shoot and he can play, but I don't know. It's it'll be interesting to see how they finish because they still have, I think, 5 more exhibition games, something like that left.
I was shocked that they only put up 83 points. Honestly, like I don't expect them to put up 120, but 83 points is like bordering on embarrassing. And so to your point, they're not knocking down shots. And maybe they are still tinkering with it, but I also think there's a little bit of this like one-on-one isolation game that's just not working. And they've got to fix it. I mean, that was the Celtics' biggest problem down the stretch, right? They were just isolating Tatum because that's basically all they had. But, these guys, they've got more than just Tatum, right? I mean, they've got the whole crew. So it's kind of embarrassing that they
have to play more of a team game. Pass the ball around, move the ball around. That's the type of game it is in the international level.
Right.
And they can play defense. The other teams can play defense. That's what they concentrate on. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. They're going to have to, D up on their end down the stretch.
That was the thing about the Dream Team, right? Is that they all sort of left their egos at the door. Yes. And they moved the ball and they did not care who finished. They just wanted to finish strong and just pound on these teams. Now, go ahead, Scotty.
I was gonna say, well, the Dream Team, it was actually a point of like they were passing too much. They were almost too unselfish at first. Like, no, you start. No, you start. Or whatever. And then they finally got that rhythm. And I'm wondering if that's what Pop is hoping that's going to happen. Is that they're still kind of, and he even said it after the last loss to Australia. He was like, we've only been together a few, like a week or whatever. We're still trying to come together and see how we're going to play together. So, I think he's got a lot of work to do. Pop's got a big challenge in front of him for sure.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It's a different. We've talked about this before. It's a different NBA. The players are different. It's a players' league now, and so it stands to reason that these guys, they want their touches. They want their, name up on the box score. They want all of that. And it was like with the Dream Team, it was like, it didn't matter. I mean, Charles Barkley was the leading scorer for much of the Dream Team's run in the Olympics, not Jordan, not Bird, not Magic, Barkley. Now it's not taking anything away from Barkley, but it's just to say that they really didn't care. And it was that will never be replicated because I don't think you have those types of players anymore. And it's not just the talent. I think you have talent like that. You just don't have the types of players that are willing to set their egos aside and play as a team to try and win the gold medal in a decisive fashion. And so far, this Team USA isn't doing it. We'll see. I think they'll probably get it together.
Well, it's so on your point, yes, we may not see, 10 Hall of Famers like that again. Right. But also, the international game has gotten a lot better. These teams around the world are so much better than they were back then. Like some of them were just throwing together teams to play in the Olympics.
Right. Yeah. Are we expecting Giannis to play for Greece? Does he play for Greece? I can't remember. Him and his brother probably, right?
Yeah. He has before, yeah.
All right.
So I doubt it because I think he's played literally, with the injury and stuff like that. That he's playing through. By the way, playing through masterfully. Back-to-back 40 burgers.
No kidding.
He's been unbelievable so far. But I don't know. I'd be surprised if he played the Olympics.
I just want to say not to get off Team USA, but my prediction is still alive, and pretty well, right? Because Giannis is just they wasted a really good Giannis game in Game 2. And then he came back and had another monster game in Game 3. So we'll see what he does. But my prediction is still alive and well, even though I was accused of being the contrarian on the call last week. So I just want to throw that out there.
I have sons in 7, so I'm still alive.
All right. Everybody's still alive because nobody's won yet, but I'm just saying.
One more thing for the Team USA too, that I think is a struggle that they need to figure out is the officiating for this is a lot different from the NBA.
True.
And that's a big struggle. Tatum is like every other play. It's Tatum doing something, trying to draw a foul, not getting it, and then staring at the ref for like 3 seconds and not getting anything, and it's not going anywhere. And they really need to get out of that mindset or they're going to have struggles.
Don't even get me started on them looking at the referees. They do that in the NBA too. It's exhausting. Yeah. Like, enough with this already. You fouled the guy or you didn't. Big deal. Just move on. Unless you're bleeding, just move on with the game. Go play defense.
change anything.
Right. Exactly. All right. So before we leave basketball, I know you guys are super excited to talk about the WNBA All-Star game.
All right.
If you guys want to turn your video off while I talk, that's fine. But the Connecticut Sun have 3 All-Stars going to the All-Star game on Wednesday night. Jonquel Jones, Brianna Jones, and DeWanna Bonner. If you're not watching these games, I suggest, and you like basketball, if you're a casual fan and you just like the Celtics because you're from Boston, fine. But if you love basketball, they are playing some incredible basketball in the WNBA. Like I've mentioned before, the production value of the games is a little bit lower than the NBA, significantly lower. It's on par with college basketball. Yeah. It's maybe even a little lower than college basketball. But you can't hold that against the players. I mean, the players are playing excellent basketball. Brianna Jones is just a monster. I mean, she's putting up 30+ points a game, and nobody can defend her. And Connecticut is 3rd in the league, so they have qualified for the Commissioner's Cup. So very excited about that. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm not spending too long on it. I don't want to get called out on it, but let's just say that if you're not watching the Connecticut Sun, you should be watching, especially you, Scotty. I mean, come on, you're our basketball guru.
I don't get. It's not like I get it locally up here. You know what I mean? Like
it's on Nesson.
It's on Nesson. You get it?
Oh, it is. Oh,
all right. Let's come on. You don't get it, my ass. All right.
Damn it! The hell are you doing, Billy?
Now I expect the
main card.
I accidentally put it on the other night.
Accidentally?
because Nesson was the last channel I had on. So when I put it on the TV, the Suns game was on. Oh, Sun.
It's
the
embarrassing.
Sun, not the Suns.
Rubber Shoes is like, hot dog eating contest or the WM. Oh, hot dog eating contest. 30 for 30 on the hot dog eating contest. Definitely watching
all
that instead
day.
Of the WNBA. My God, it's horrible.
It's a staple of America.
Yeah, so is basketball and women. Yeah. All right.
To be fair,
a staple of America. Don't touch that, Scotty. Don't touch that.
I'm not saying a word. I'm not touching that one.
All right, let's move on because you guys are so enthralled by the WNBA. But I feel like I got to bring it up. It's my only professional sports team in Connecticut, and they're really good.
I think you need
no hate. No hate.
All right. So Rubber Shoes, I know you want to talk about another fascinating sport, soccer. So why don't you talk about the Euro Cup and
soccer here or football in the rest of the world?
Yeah, sorry, football.
So it was I don't watch soccer. Like I don't watch the Revs. If it's on and there's nothing else on, I'll watch it. I don't follow it. I do love the international cups. I love the World Cup. I love the Olympics, the Copa America Cup, the Euro Cup. I love all that. I try to watch the Premier League here and there, but it's on too early in the morning for me. Actually, it's not. I'm up, but it's a great take for me.
You gotta pick between the WWE and Premier League. I mean, you gotta pick between the two.
I really feel bad for the English fans because they have not won an international cup tournament anything since 1966. I know it's not as long as we had to wait in Boston for a World Series, but that's their bread and butter is soccer. So I felt really bad for them, and I especially feel really bad for the guys that missed the penalty kicks. And soon as it happened, it just so happened that
both of us were watching.
The 3 guys that missed their kicks were non-whites. And as soon as it happened, I'm like, they're gonna get killed for one reason only.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's such an ugly thing that happens on Twitter. It's these people that can remain faceless, don't have to see people face to face, and they're sending out all these bad shots to people. In the mural. It's awful. But congratulations to Italy for winning the Euro Cup, and also Argentina on Saturday won the Copa America Cup. It was Messi's first international championship with Argentina, and Argentina's first win since 1993. So it's good to see one of the great soccer players to win one of those. And that's all I got on that. If anyone else wants to chime in,
just a quick thing on the Twitter thing, right? So it's. We talked a lot about the NBA fans and how nasty they got throughout the season. it's way worse on Twitter. I mean, if you're on Twitter, it's disgusting. And it's because, and you would think it would be better almost, or, less disgusting on there, because if you're at a game and you're in the heat of the game, it doesn't excuse it, but at least you're like, okay, it's the heat of the moment, and maybe I regret what I said. But you go to Twitter,
alcohol.
Right, and the alcohol. That's right. Then you go to Twitter though, and you've got all the time in the world. You've got a backspace key on your keyboard. There's no excuse for it. I mean, there's no excuse for it, period. But if you put it on Twitter, it's so much more disgusting than saying it off the top of your head, I think.
Yeah, because you had to think about it more, actually typing in all those
exactly.
words. So.
And it's not just football or soccer in Europe. I mean, it's every sport in the United States. I mean, if you read anything on Twitter about any sport, you're going to see nastiness towards
sports, it's politics,
it's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yes.
So we're putting out good in the world.
Yes.
We're putting out good in the world. We're not trying to criticize anybody. But Little Shoes, you wanted to say something about the Euro Cup?
I was saying I don't feel as bad based on how they reacted to losing, and I was also bringing up there was a street mural of one of the players that happened. I think it was the one that kicked the post and it got defaced like immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And some people I know some like people came around like the day after, and on the defaced stuff they were putting hearts and stuff to like say like we forgive and all that. So that was at least nice to see, but it's just completely unnecessary. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised, which sucks.
No, it's not surprising.
It's just how it is.
It's not surprising.
I mean, when you have tragedies and stuff like that, you see the best come out of people. People are good. There are good-natured people out there that like to help and feel for other people that they don't even know.
Right.
But then you get this other side that unfortunately it exists in the world, and you try to fight it, but I don't know how you can't make everyone believe the same way. And that's what makes everyone different, and how we have conversations like this. But it does bring out the ugly in human nature. Sometimes.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. It was actually a great soccer match if anybody watched it.
Yeah.
Rubber Shoes, you watched it.
And
so it's unfortunate that it was tainted by that. But thanks for bringing it up. And before we go, Rubber Shoes, I have to know, do you feel with Pete Rose that he was ahead of his time because now everybody is betting on sports? Or do you
or cheating on sports?
Not sponsored by DraftKings.
Yeah, right.
Do you think he was ahead of his time, or unfairly?
Obviously,
from the
I'm
Hall
a
of Fame?
huge fan, and I believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame because it's the Players Hall of Fame. You go in. Oh well, I mean, you can go in as a manager and stuff, but as what he did on the field deserves 100% to be in the Hall of Fame. What he did as a manager was bad, but I think it's two separate entities that, I think they should ban him as a coach for life, but as a player, he had already finished playing as a regular player and should go in the Hall of Fame based on his stats as a player.
And what are the rules around it? Is he allowed to be voted in? Could he be voted in?
He's still banned. Which
I know, but if they change that, there's no statute of limitations on whether he gets in or not, right?
No, so I think you can go in through the Veterans Committee. So you're on the ballot for so many years, and then after that you get taken off, and you go. But he was never on a ballot, so maybe he does go on a ballot for 7 years before he goes to the Veterans Committee.
Well, I know there's a lot of Pete Rose apologists out there, you included. So I'm really hoping that for your sake, he gets on a ballot at some point.
You know what? So the biggest thing that people say is, even with the like Barry Bonds and McGuire, which McGuire is kind of a borderline possible Hall of Famer, but Barry Bonds is legit a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens legit a Hall of Famer, and they say that there's too many clauses in the voting for Baseball Hall of Fame. And if they looked into or had the access that they do to players now, back in the early 1900s, the Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, all these guys were really bad people off the field when no one could see it. They were all drunks, they were womanizers. And so the same thing that happened back then is happening now, just more people are finding out about it when it comes to voting, or the voters love the guys because maybe you gave them a couple bucks after a game or something, so they look the other way. I think they need to change. I like how the other sports, I know some people have said they let too many people in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Well, you put people in that you think people are going to come to the museum to see,
right?
Like, if you put Pete Rose in there, he's been talked about probably more than most players ever. If you put him in, people are going to go to Cooperstown and say, okay, he finally got in. Why did he go in? Let's go and see all the memorabilia and the records he had and the type of play, just the type of player. Charlie Hustle. He was the original dirt dog for me.
Have you been to Cooperstown? This is a stupid question.
Yeah, multiple times.
Okay. I figured. And Little Shoes, I assume you've been on
finally
a number of trips.
I got him and Mrs. Shoes to go, I think 2 summers ago. They finally, I said, if we're going to Niagara Falls, we're stopping at Cooperstown on the way back, and we finally did it.
Go ahead.
It's like such an odd spot for it too.
Yep.
Cooperstown? It's like super tiny city, like with just some shops, and then the Hall of Fame's right here.
Yep.
Yeah. Does Mrs. Shoes accept that she is called Mrs. Shoes? Do you guys talk about it at the dinner table? Like, hey, Mrs. Shoes, can you pass the salt? Or...
It is what it is.
Okay.
My girlfriend got a kick out of her Little Heels. So
Little Heels. All right. Yeah. Little Heels. Well, maybe she can come on the show sometime so we can meet.
Or maybe not.
She understands she's part of me, so she has to deal with stuff like that.
I got it. Okay. All right. I mean, she's a saint already because of the room of Funko Pops that's available in your house. So
actually but
2 rooms of Funko Pops,
rooms,
right?
Yeah, including the attic, probably.
I sure hope she has a she shed or something outside in the backyard.
I should actually half of this room is her she shed.
The second that camera goes over, it's just
we can't pan left.
But like I said before, some of this memorabilia in here is hers, like the Brett Favre stuff,
all that Green Bay stuff behind him.
Yeah, all the Bruins stuff in here is hers because it was pre me being a Bruins fan. So all the stuff in here that's Bruins related is from her. That Jason Veritek picture behind me, that's hers.
Okay, well, that's a good picture. That's one of my favorites of all time. Let me make this the formal invitation for Mrs. Shoes if she ever wants to come on and talk about the Aaron Rodgers debacle that's going on in Green Bay right now.
Yeah,
and the fact that he won the match. Ugh. Oh, that's right. We didn't even talk about the match.
Oh, that's
well, we don't have time to get into it, but if Brady had won, we would have talked about it for a lot longer.
I just one thing on ESPN Productions again.
Yeah.
So on UFC 264 this weekend, it's to get it, you had to be ESPN Plus, or you could subscribe other ways, but you subscribe to there, and then they had the pre and post fight analysis. I stayed up and watched the post fight.
You watched that,
and they had Max Kellerman and Teddy Atlas doing MMA post fight, which are 2 lifetime boxing analysts.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, and Teddy Atlas, he's talking. So I don't know if you follow MMA at all, but when they get down on the mat, it's called the ground, and they do ground and pound, and they that's when they do the grappling on the ground. Well, Teddy Atlas said it at least 5 times that when he got him to the floor, he was fighting on the floor, and I'm like, oh my god,
you were so enraged by that.
Yes,
you were trying not to yell at 1 a.m. to me about that. He's like it's not called floor and pound. What the hell?
They have 20 former MMA guys that do the fights on ESPN. They couldn't get 2 of them to do the post fight.
Did that make the Rubber Shoes rant the next morning, or
no, I think I was just talking about the fights themselves. I didn't get
we need to get a little more of that rage into those rants.
It's hard to get me. Yeah, it's hard to get me riled up, but when I do get riled up, I
can tell.
Go off.
Yeah.
All right, LeBron is a big fixture of my rant.
We
need more NBA, LeBron in the rants.
Don't watch Space Jam. You'll be pissed off the entire time.
We need a full review of Space Jam.
Upload on YouTube.
The thing is, I heard there might be a cameo of Jordan, so I'm like, just for that fact, I might have to watch it.
Oh God. Don't waste your $7 or whatever it is.
Oh no, I'll wait till it comes on. Actually, I think I have HBO
it's on
Max.
HBO Max. Yeah.
Oh, HBO Max.
Okay, I can watch it for my $10 a month for HBO Max.
Well, if you want to hear Rubber Shoes' take on Space Jam when it comes out, make sure to go to our Instagram page at ATB Show. Watch his wrap ups and rants. He goes crazy on LeBron James and I guess UFC fighting. I don't know. So you should watch it though. It's on our Instagram. And if you go to atbshow.com, you can get all of our videos, the show there as well. And if you're on Instagram, make sure you grab our link tree, which has all of our other socials there as well. So Scotty Dukes, thank you, sir. Rubber Shoes, Little Shoes. Timmy will be back next week with a full report about the Sagamore Bridge, dude. So we will catch you next week. Have a great week. ATB Show. Thanks for checking in.
Later.
See you guys.